The flames of betrayal. The perfect facade. Maya stood in front of the mirror, adjusting her simple white wedding dress. The fabric was nothing special, just plain cotton from a local shop. She had sewn the lace trim herself during late nights after her shifts at the diner. Her hands trembled slightly as she pinned back her long dark hair. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Today she would marry Ethan Cole, the man she had loved since college. The small church was decorated with wildflowers she had picked herself that morning. There was no fancy wedding planner, no expensive decorations. Maya did not come from money. She was an orphan who had worked 3 jobs to put herself through community college. When Ethan, the charming business student from a wealthy family, had noticed her in the library, she thought it was a miracle. "You look beautiful," her best friend Lisa said, entering the small room. Lisa was the only person Maya considered family. They had grown up together in the same foster home. Maya smiled, but something felt wrong. She could not explain it. A heavy feeling sat in her chest like a stone. "Have you seen Ethan?" she asked. Lisa's face changed for just a moment. A flash of something Maya could not read. "He's probably just nervous. All grooms get nervous." Wedding day destruction. The church bells rang. Maya walked down the aisle alone. No father to give her away. No mother to cry happy tears. Just her, holding a small bouquet of daisies, walking toward her future. Ethan stood at the altar in his expensive suit. He looked so handsome, so perfect. But his smile seemed strange. Cold almost. The ceremony began. The priest spoke about love and commitment. Maya's heart pounded as they exchanged vows. When it was time for the rings, Ethan reached into his pocket. But instead of pulling out a ring, he pulled out his phone. "I'm sorry, Maya," he said loudly, his voice echoing through the small church. "I can't do this." The room went silent. Maya felt the world tilt beneath her feet. "What? Ethan, what are you talking about?" He laughed. It was a cruel sound that made her blood run cold. "Did you really think I would marry someone like you? A nobody with nothing? This whole thing was a bet." Maya's vision blurred. "A bet? My friends bet me I couldn't make the poorest girl in college fall in love with me. Congratulations, Maya. You played your part perfectly." He turned to the crowd, where several people were now laughing. People she thought were their friends. The fire that changed everything. Maya ran. She ran from the church, from the laughter, from the pain that was tearing her heart apart. Tears streamed down her face as she stumbled down the street in her cheap wedding dress. She did not know where she was going. She just needed to get away. Her small apartment was several miles away, but she did not care. She walked and walked until her feet bled in her worn shoes. Finally, she reached her building. It was old and run down, but it was hers. She climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor, her whole body shaking with sobs. She just wanted to lie down and disappear. She wanted to stop existing. But when she opened her door, she smelled something wrong. Smoke. Her eyes widened as she saw flames spreading across her small living room. Fire was everywhere, consuming her few possessions. Her books, her clothes, the small photograph of her and Lisa from their childhood. "No!" Maya screamed. She tried to run inside to save something, anything. But the smoke was too thick. She could not breathe. The heat pushed her back toward the door. She heard shouting from below. Someone was calling for help. She turned to run down the stairs, but the floor beneath her gave way. Maya fell through flames and darkness. The last thing she remembered was the terrible pain, and then nothing. Survival and awakening. When Maya opened her eyes, everything was white. White walls, white sheets, white lights above her head. A hospital. She was alive. But the pain was unbelievable. Her entire body felt like it was still burning. She tried to move but could not. Bandages covered her arms, her chest, parts of her face. "You're awake." A man's voice spoke from beside her bed. Maya turned her head slowly. A doctor stood there, looking at her with kind but serious eyes. "You're very lucky to be alive. The fire department pulled you out just in time. But I need to be honest with you. Your injuries are severe. 3rd-degree burns over 30% of your body." Maya tried to speak, but her throat was too damaged. She just stared at the ceiling, feeling tears roll down the parts of her face that could still feel. There's someone here who wants to help you, the doctor continued. A benefactor. They've agreed to pay for all your medical treatment, including reconstructive surgery. They want to remain anonymous, but they've asked me to give you this. He handed her an envelope. Inside was a card with just one sentence written in elegant handwriting. Sometimes we must burn completely to rise stronger. Your journey is just beginning. A new identity emerges. 6 months passed in that hospital. 6 months of painful surgeries, physical therapy, and endless questions from police about the fire. The investigation revealed the truth that made Maya's blood boil. The fire was not an accident. Security footage from a neighbor's camera showed someone entering her building that day. Someone who looked exactly like Lisa, her best friend, the only person she had trusted. The police found evidence that Lisa had been having an affair with Ethan for over a year. They planned the whole thing together. The fake wedding, the humiliation, and finally, the fire meant to kill Maya and collect on a life insurance policy Ethan had secretly taken out in her name. But they had failed. Maya survived. And with each surgery, each day of healing, something inside her changed. The gentle, trusting girl who had walked into that church died in the fire. What emerged from the bandages was someone new. Someone harder. Someone who understood that kindness was often mistaken for weakness. The mysterious benefactor visited her once, hidden behind a surgical mask and sunglasses. It was a woman, elegant and powerful. My name is not important, the woman said. What matters is that I see potential in you. I see someone who has been wronged but survived. I want to offer you a chance. A new life, a new identity, and the tools to get justice. Maya's voice was still rough from the smoke damage, but her words were clear. Why would you help me? Because I was once like you. Betrayed by people I loved. Left for dead. But I rose up and built an empire. Now I help others do the same. The question is, Maya, what do you want? Maya looked at her scarred hands. The physical pain was fading, but the emotional pain had transformed into something else. Something cold and focused. I want them to pay. I want them to lose everything just like I did. But I want to do it legally. I want to destroy them in a way they can never recover from. The woman smiled. Then your real education begins now. Seeds of revenge. For the next year, Maya disappeared completely. The woman, who told Maya to call her Madame V, took her to a private facility overseas. There, Maya received the best reconstructive surgery money could buy. Skilled surgeons worked to minimize her scars, though some would always remain. But Maya wore them with pride now. They were proof of her survival. But the physical transformation was nothing compared to what else Madame V provided. Maya studied business, law, psychology, and strategy. She learned how corporations worked, how to read financial statements, how to find weaknesses in any organization. She trained her body and mind, becoming someone completely different from the naive girl who had walked into that church. Madame V had resources everywhere. Connections in business, law, and even government. She taught Maya how to use them all. Revenge is not about anger, Madame V explained during one lesson. It's about precision. It's a dish best served cold, as they say. You must be patient. You must be smart. And you must always stay 3 steps ahead. Maya absorbed everything like a sponge. She discovered she had a natural talent for business and strategy. Her mind, once filled with simple dreams of love and happiness, became sharp and calculating. She learned to read people, to predict their moves, to find their pressure points. During this time, Madame V's team investigated Ethan and Lisa thoroughly. They discovered that Ethan had used the insurance money to expand his father's failing company. He had married Lisa in a quick ceremony 3 months after Maya's supposed death. They were living in a luxury penthouse, driving expensive cars, and flaunting their wealth on social media. They thought they had won. They thought Maya was gone forever. They had no idea that she was watching, learning, and planning. Every photograph they posted, every business deal Ethan made, every friend they met with, Maya knew it all. She was building a detailed map of their lives, finding every weakness, every secret, every lie. On the anniversary of the fire, Maya stood in front of a mirror again. But this time she looked completely different. Her scars were minimal, hidden with expert makeup and clothing. Her hair was now a striking platinum blonde, cut in a sharp professional style. She wore an expensive business suit that fit her perfectly. Contact lenses changed her eye color from brown to steel gray. She looked like a completely different person. "Are you ready?" Madame V asked from behind her. Maya turned, and her expression was calm but determined. "Yes. It's time for Maya to stay dead. And for Phoenix to rise." "Phoenix?" Madame V raised an eyebrow. "That's my new name. Phoenix Sterling. Because I rose from the ashes of the fire they set. And now I'm going to burn their world down piece by piece." Madame V smiled with approval. "Then let the game begin. Remember everything I taught you. Be patient. Be smart. And most importantly, never let them see you coming until it's too late." Phoenix nodded. She had spent a year preparing for this moment. She had transformed completely, her appearance, her name, her entire identity. Tomorrow, she would return to the city where Maya had died. She would enter Ethan's world with a new face and a new mission. Ethan, Cole, and Lisa had taken everything from Maya. Her trust, her love, her innocence, and nearly her life. But they had made one crucial mistake. They had underestimated her will to survive. They thought the fire had destroyed her. Instead, it had forged her into something far more dangerous. As Phoenix looked at her reflection one last time, she made a silent promise to the girl she used to be. "I will get justice for you. Not through violence or hatred, but through something far more devastating. I will take everything they stole and everything they built on top of your pain. And when I'm done, they'll understand that some fires don't destroy. Some fires only make you stronger." The next chapter of her life was about to begin. And this time she was writing the story. To be continued in Part 2, Rising from the Ashes. Welcome to my channel, Burning for Redemption. Don't forget to like and subscribe for Part 2, where Phoenix begins her calculated revenge. Part 2 and 311:18 Part 2. Rising from the Ashes. The grand entrance. Phoenix Sterling stepped out of the black luxury car, her designer heels clicking against the marble floor of the Crystal Tower, the most prestigious business building in the city. Everything about her screamed power and success. Her platinum blonde hair was styled in perfect waves, her gray suit was custom-made, and the diamond watch on her wrist cost more than Maya's entire year of salary used to be. She walked through the lobby with confidence, her head held high. People turned to look at her. She was magnetic, commanding attention without even trying. This was exactly what she wanted. To be seen, to be noticed, but never recognized as the girl who had burned. "Miss Sterling, welcome." A young assistant greeted her nervously. "Mr. Cole is waiting for you in the conference room on the 40th floor." Phoenix smiled coolly. "Thank you. Lead the way." As the elevator climbed, Phoenix felt her heart beating faster. This was it. The first face-to-face meeting with Ethan since that terrible day. She had arranged this meeting carefully. Her new identity as Phoenix Sterling, CEO of Sterling Global Investments, was perfect. She had used Madame V's resources to create a completely legitimate business empire. On paper, Phoenix Sterling had appeared 5 years ago in Europe, building a successful investment company from the ground. No one would connect her to Maya, the poor orphan girl who had died in a fire. The elevator doors opened. Phoenix walked down the hallway, her expression calm but her mind racing. She had practiced this moment 1,000 times. She knew exactly what to say, how to act, and most importantly, how to hide any trace of the pain Ethan had caused her. The first move. The conference room was impressive, with floor-to-ceiling windows showing the entire city below. And there he was, Ethan Cole, sitting at the head of the table, looking older but still handsome in his expensive suit. He stood when she entered, his eyes widening slightly as he took in her appearance. "Miss Sterling, it's a pleasure to meet you." He extended his hand with a charming smile, the same smile that had once made Maya's heart race. Now it made her stomach turn with disgust. Phoenix shook his hand firmly, her face showing nothing but professional interest. "Mr. Cole, thank you for meeting with me on such short notice. When Sterling Global Investments requests a meeting, I make time," Ethan said smoothly. "Your reputation precedes you. You've built quite an empire in just a few years. I believe in working hard and making smart decisions," Phoenix replied, sitting down across from him. "Which is why I'm interested in your company. Cole Industries has potential, but from what I've seen, It's not reaching its full capacity. Ethan's smile faltered slightly. We're doing quite well, actually. Our profits have increased significantly over the past 2 years. Phoenix pulled out a folder and slid it across the table. I've done my research, Mr. Cole. Your profits increased because of a large insurance payout 2 years ago. Since then, your growth has been stagnant. You've made several poor investment decisions, including the failed tech startup last quarter that cost you millions. Ethan's face reddened. He was not used to being challenged, especially not by a woman. Phoenix could see his ego bruising, and she enjoyed every second of it. I'm offering you a partnership, Phoenix continued calmly. Sterling Global will invest $20 million in Cole Industries. In return, I want 40% ownership and a seat on the board of directors. 40%? Ethan sputtered. That's outrageous. I would never give up that much control of my family's company. Phoenix stood up, gathering her papers. Then I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Cole. But I should warn you, I've also been in talks with your competitors. If you're not interested in my help, I'm sure they will be. She walked toward the door, counting in her head. 3, 2, 1. Wait. Ethan's voice stopped her. Let's not be hasty. Perhaps we can negotiate the terms. Phoenix turned, hiding her smile. This was exactly what she had predicted. Ethan was desperate, even if he tried to hide it. His company was in more trouble than he wanted to admit. She had made sure of that through careful manipulation over the past few months, using her connections to sabotage several of his deals without leaving any trace back to her. I don't negotiate, Mr. Cole. I make offers. You have 48 hours to decide. After that, my offer goes to Bradford Enterprises. She handed him her business card. I'll be expecting your call. Building her empire. Over the next few weeks, Phoenix played Ethan perfectly. He tried to resist her terms, tried to negotiate for less ownership, but she had him trapped. She had systematically destroyed his other opportunities, closed doors he did not even know were open, and positioned herself as his only lifeline. Finally, Ethan agreed to her terms. Phoenix Sterling now owned 40% of Cole Industries. She attended her first board meeting with a sense of triumph that she carefully hid behind a professional mask. But Ethan was not her only target. Lisa was working as a social media influencer, using Ethan's money to fund her lavish lifestyle. She posted constantly about her perfect life, her designer clothes, her expensive vacations. Phoenix watched every post, studying Lisa's patterns and weaknesses. Phoenix created a fake social media account under a different name and began following Lisa. She left comments praising Lisa's style, her beauty, her life. Slowly, she built a connection, becoming one of Lisa's most dedicated fans. Lisa, who was hungry for attention and validation, began responding to the comments. Then Phoenix made her move. Through her fake account, she suggested that Lisa should start her own fashion line. She even offered to help fund it through a small business investment program she claimed to run. Lisa, always greedy for more money and fame, jumped at the opportunity. But the investment was a trap. Phoenix had structured it so that Lisa would owe massive debts if the fashion line failed. And Phoenix would make absolutely sure it failed at exactly the right moment. Unexpected allies. One evening, Phoenix was working late in her new office at Cole Industries when someone knocked on her door. She looked up to see a man in his 30s, dressed casually but expensively. He had kind eyes and a warm smile. Miss Sterling? I'm Daniel Bradford. I hope I'm not interrupting. Phoenix recognized the name immediately. Daniel Bradford was the CEO of Bradford Enterprises, one of Cole Industries' biggest competitors. He was known for being honest and fair in business, unlike most people in their industry. Mr. Bradford, this is unexpected. Please come in. Daniel sat down, studying her with intelligent eyes. I'll be direct. I know what you're doing. Phoenix's blood ran cold, but she kept her expression neutral. I'm not sure what you mean. You're systematically taking over Cole Industries. You've been sabotaging Ethan's deals, closing his opportunities, and positioning yourself as his savior. I recognize the strategy because I almost fell for it too when you approached me about a partnership last month. Phoenix stood up, her mind racing. How much did he know? Mr. Bradford, I think you should leave. Wait. Daniel raised his hands peacefully. I'm not here to expose you. I'm here to help you. Why would you do that? Daniel's expression turned serious. Because Ethan Cole is a terrible person, and he deserves what's coming to him. 3 years ago, he tried to destroy my sister's business because she refused to date him. He spread lies about her, sabotaged her contracts, and nearly drove her to bankruptcy. I've been wanting to take him down for years, but I couldn't find a way without destroying innocent people who work for his company. He leaned forward. But you're doing it perfectly. You're taking control legally, systematically. I don't know what your personal reason is, and I don't need to know. I just want to offer you my resources. Information, connections, whatever you need. Phoenix studied him carefully. This could be a trap. But something in Daniel's eyes told her he was being honest. She had learned to read people very well over the past 2 years, and every instinct told her that Daniel was telling the truth. What do you want in return? She asked. Justice. And maybe when this is all over, a fair business partnership with whoever ends up running Cole Industries. He smiled. I have a feeling that will be you. Phoenix made a decision. All right, Mr. Bradford. Let's talk. The ex-husband's regret begins. 3 months passed. Phoenix now owned 60% of Cole Industries. She had convinced other shareholders to sell to her by showing them clear evidence of Ethan's poor management. Ethan was losing control of his own company, and he knew it. She saw the frustration in his eyes during every board meeting, the way his jaw clenched when she vetoed his decisions. But something else was happening too. Something Phoenix had not anticipated. Ethan was developing feelings for her. Phoenix Sterling, the powerful, beautiful, mysterious woman who had entered his life and taken over his world. He started showing up at her office with coffee, inviting her to lunch, finding excuses to work late when she was there. At first, Phoenix thought he was just trying to manipulate her, to use charm to regain control. But as time went on, she realized it was real. He was actually falling for her. The irony was almost too perfect. The man who had destroyed Maya for a bet was now falling in love with the woman Maya had become. One evening, Ethan knocked on her office door. He looked nervous, vulnerable in a way she had never seen before. Phoenix, can I talk to you? Not about business. Phoenix gestured for him to sit, curious about what he would say. I know this is inappropriate, and I know you probably think I'm crazy, but... He ran his hand through his hair. I can't stop thinking about you. You're brilliant, strong, beautiful. Everything I thought I wanted in a partner. I need to know, is there any chance you might feel the same way? Phoenix looked at him, this man who had broken her heart so completely. She thought about Maya standing in that church being humiliated in front of everyone. She thought about the fire, the pain, the months of recovery. And she felt nothing but cold satisfaction. I'm flattered, Ethan, she said carefully. But I make it a policy not to date business partners. Perhaps if circumstances were different. She left it hanging, giving him hope. This was perfect. If Ethan thought he had a chance with her, he would be even easier to manipulate. He would make mistakes, let his guard down. Give her exactly what she needed to complete her revenge. Playing the long game. Meanwhile, Lisa's fashion line was ready to launch. Phoenix had secretly ensured that the designs were stolen from other artists, that the manufacturing was poor quality, and that the marketing was handled by an incompetent team she had paid to do a bad job. The launch was a disaster. Fashion critics destroyed it. Social media turned against Lisa. Lawsuits for copyright infringement started piling up. Lisa was panicking. Phoenix watched through her fake social media account as Lisa posted desperate messages, crying about betrayal and wondering how everything had gone so wrong. The debts were crushing her. Ethan tried to help, but he was having his own financial problems as Phoenix systematically bled his company dry through necessary expenses and strategic investments that all mysteriously failed. Daniel Bradford proved to be a valuable ally. He provided Phoenix with insider information about Ethan's illegal business practices that even Phoenix had not discovered. Evidence of bribes, tax evasion, fraud. All carefully documented and ready to be revealed at the right moment. You've built an impressive case, Daniel said during one of their strategy meetings. When you're ready to make your final move, he won't have anywhere to run. Soon, Phoenix replied. But not yet. I want them to lose everything slowly. I want them to feel the same desperation and helplessness that—" She stopped herself. Daniel looked at her knowingly. "That someone once made you feel?" Phoenix did not answer, but she did not need to. Daniel was smart enough to figure out that this was personal. One evening, as Phoenix was leaving the office, she found Ethan waiting by her car. He looked terrible, stressed and exhausted. "Phoenix, I need your help. Lisa's business is failing, and she's asking me for money I don't have. The board is questioning my decisions. I feel like everything is falling apart." Phoenix felt a surge of satisfaction but kept her face sympathetic. "Business is difficult, Ethan. Sometimes we make decisions that seem right at the time but turn out to be mistakes. Like marrying Lisa," he said bitterly. "That was a mistake. She's not who I thought she was. She's materialistic, shallow. Not like you. You're different. You're real." Phoenix almost laughed. The irony was overwhelming. "Why did you marry her if you felt that way?" Ethan looked down. "I thought I loved her. But now I realize I didn't know what love was. Not until I met you." "Love is complicated," Phoenix said carefully. "Sometimes we hurt the people who actually care about us, while chasing people who only want to use us." "You're right," Ethan said, not realizing she was talking about what he had done to Maya. "I've made so many mistakes. But I want to do better. I want to be better. For you." Phoenix smiled, a cold smile that did not reach her eyes. "Then prove it, Ethan. Show me that you're the man you claim to be." She got in her car and drove away, leaving him standing in the parking lot. She could see him in her rearview mirror, watching her leave, hope and desperation written all over his face. Everything was going according to plan. Ethan was falling apart. Lisa was drowning in debt and shame. Their perfect life, built on Maya's pain and suffering, was crumbling. And the best part? They had no idea who was really behind it all. As Phoenix drove through the city, she thought about the girl she used to be. Maya would have felt guilty about causing so much pain. Maya would have forgiven them, would have walked away and tried to rebuild her life quietly. But Phoenix was not Maya anymore. Phoenix was justice. Phoenix was consequence. And Phoenix was just getting started. She pulled out her phone and called Daniel. "It's time for Phase 3. Gather all the evidence you have on Ethan's illegal activities. I want everything ready. In 1 month we're going to expose them both completely. And this time there will be no coming back." "Are you sure you're ready?" Daniel asked. Phoenix looked at herself in the car mirror. She saw the scars hidden beneath her makeup, the eyes that had seen too much pain, the strength that had been forged in fire. "I've never been more ready for anything in my life." The countdown had begun. In 30 days, Ethan and Lisa would face the consequences of their actions. And Phoenix would finally get the justice that Maya deserved. The moment of truth is coming. Don't miss Part 3, where Phoenix reveals her true identity and completes her revenge. Like and subscribe to see how this incredible story ends. The crown of victory. The grand revelation. Phoenix stood in front of the mirror in her penthouse apartment, preparing for the most important day of her life. Today was the annual Coal Industries Gala, a massive event where all the major players in the business world would gather. It was also the day she would reveal the truth, destroy her enemies, and finally get the justice she deserved. She wore a stunning red dress that hugged her figure perfectly, a symbol of the fire that had transformed her. Her platinum blonde hair was styled elegantly, and her makeup was flawless. But tonight would be the last night anyone saw Phoenix Sterling. Tonight, Maya would finally speak. Daniel Bradford arrived at her apartment to escort her to the gala. Over the past months, their professional relationship had developed into genuine friendship. He was one of the few people who knew pieces of her story, though not everything. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" Daniel asked as they drove to the event. "Once you reveal who you are, there's no going back. Your life as Phoenix Sterling will be over." "Phoenix Sterling was always temporary," she replied, looking out at the city lights. "She was a tool, a disguise I needed to get close enough to destroy them. But I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of pretending. Tonight, everyone will know the truth about what Ethan and Lisa did. And they'll know that Maya survived." "What will you do after?" Daniel asked gently. Phoenix smiled, a real smile this time. "I'll figure it out. For the first time in years, I'll be free to just be myself. Whoever that is now. The gala was magnificent. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and hundreds of people in expensive clothes mingled with champagne glasses in their hands. Phoenix entered with Daniel, and immediately heads turned. She had become famous in business circles as the mysterious Phoenix Sterling, who had taken the business world by storm. Ethan spotted her immediately and rushed over, his eyes lighting up. He had become increasingly obsessed with her over the past months, and tonight he was planning to make a grand gesture. Lisa was there too, looking thin and stressed. Her fashion line failure had destroyed her influencer career, and the lawsuits were draining their finances. She clung to Ethan's arm desperately, but Phoenix could see the cracks in their relationship. "Phoenix, you look absolutely stunning," Ethan said, barely glancing at Lisa. "I'm so glad you came. I have something special planned for tonight." "I'm looking forward to it," Phoenix said smoothly. "I have something special planned as well." Confronting the past. The evening proceeded with dinner and speeches. Phoenix sat at the head table watching Ethan and Lisa. They had no idea what was coming. They thought they were safe, that their secrets were buried with Maya's supposed death. They were wrong. Finally, it was time for Ethan to give his speech as the host and CEO of Cole Industries. He stood at the podium, looking confident despite his company's problems. "Thank you all for coming tonight. This year has been challenging, but I'm grateful for the support of my partners, especially Ms. Phoenix Sterling, whose investment and guidance have been invaluable." He paused, looking directly at Phoenix. "In fact, I have an announcement to make. Phoenix, could you please join me up here?" Phoenix stood and walked to the stage, her heart pounding. This was it. Ethan took her hand and she allowed it, knowing it would be the last time he ever touched her willingly. "Phoenix Sterling is not just my business partner," Ethan said to the crowd. "Over these past months, I've fallen deeply in love with her. She's shown me what real strength and intelligence look like. So tonight, in front of all of you, I want to ask." He got down on one knee, pulling out a ring box. "Phoenix, will you marry me?" The crowd gasped. Lisa's face went white with shock and rage. Daniel looked at Phoenix with concern, wondering how she would handle this unexpected twist. Phoenix looked down at Ethan, this man who had once destroyed her so completely. He was on his knees before her, offering her everything he had. The irony was beautiful and terrible at the same time. "Ethan," she said softly, her voice carrying through the silent room, "I need to tell you something first. Something you deserve to know before I answer your question." She turned to address the entire crowd. "My name is not Phoenix Sterling. That's an identity I created 2 years ago, when I needed to disappear and rebuild myself. My real name is Maya Harper." Confusion rippled through the crowd. They did not recognize the name, but Ethan did. She saw the color drain from his face as he stared up at her in horror. Lisa gasped loudly from her seat. "That's right," Phoenix continued, her voice growing stronger. "I'm the woman you humiliated at a fake wedding. The woman you admitted was just a bet. The woman whose apartment was set on fire in an attempted murder." The crowd erupted in shocked whispers. Cameras were flashing. This was the scandal of the century. Justice served cold. Phoenix reached up and removed her contact lenses, revealing her natural brown eyes. She pulled off her wig, letting her real dark hair fall down. The transformation was startling. People could now see Maya beneath the Phoenix disguise. "You tried to kill me," Phoenix said, looking